This is the QTV Nightly News and I am Lolly M. Camara. Thanks for joining us on this extended edition of the Nightly News. And here are the headlines. BBC's Focus on Africa will be at 9 p.m. tonight. Today, the 12th of December, the Ministry of Health, through its expanded program on immunization, started the second round of the nationwide polio vaccination campaign. The Fatoumata Barbaro Foundation, in collaboration with Muslim World League, today gifted 100 underprivileged families with foodstuff and cash through her food basket initiative. At the 7th edition of the authority's annual HR Department Orientation and Review, senior GRA officials have urged staff to always maintain the highest ethical standard in the discharge of their duties. The Information Commission of the Gambia held a press conference on Thursday to update the public about their operations and recent developments. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. Today, the 12th of December, the Ministry of Health, through its expanded program on immunization, started the second round of the nationwide polio vaccination campaign. More in this report. This initiative by the government of the Gambia through the Ministry of Health is to ensure that the Gambian population, especially the young ones, are protected from the polio virus. This round targets over 426,000 children across the country. Mary Mendy, Public Health Officer, Bakau Health Center, states that the process is going on well and so far they have not registered any difficulties.
At the moment, we do not have many challenges. Most people are receptive to the vaccine, especially with the first round, because this is the second round. In the first round, we have few challenges, but the second round, the challenges will be minimal because we believe that the public have already known about the campaign and that it's starting today and ending on the 15th.
Health officials say children must be vaccinated even if they have completed their routine vaccination schedule. And vaccination teams will move from house to house, markets and other public places to administer the vaccines to children under the age group. Omar Dabo is the Health Promotion Officer for Western One Health Region.
Polio vaccination is not a new thing in the Gambia, and vaccination itself is not a new thing in the Gambia. When you see the expanded program in immunization in the Gambia, it was established since 1979. From that time, I myself was not born. But I will say, thank God I have survived today. Not vaccination alone, but one thing that might have contributed is vaccination. Because I know I have taken all the vaccine that I need, and so other people as well. So if you go back to history, the number of polio number of people that have disabilities from polio in this country, and the number of deaths from polio and even other diseases like measles, yellow fever was a lot. And then, but due to immunization, thank God today, the Gambia, we can boast that some of these diseases are not available anymore.
Henry Coker, senior member of staff from Home to Home School in Fajara, commended the team for reaching out to them in their school, looking at the seriousness of the disease.
I would say that it is a very good thing that you have come around. You have brought it right to our doorstep. You have saved lots of parents the time and effort and money to go to a private clinic or out of their way. So it's a good thing that you have come here and you have done it in the school. Yes, polio is a deadly disease, and I'm sure they will all benefit from it.
Healthcare providers say there is no cure for polio so far. So, the only way we can prevent ourselves and families is through vaccination. Additionally, they have reassured the public that the polio vaccine is safe and free of charge. This round targets an estimated number of 426,481 children under 5. For QTV News, Lolly M. Camara. The Fatoumata Barbaro Foundation, in collaboration with Muslim World League, today gifted 100 underprivileged families with foodstuff and cash through her food basket initiative. Julden Jai attended the event at the State Guards Battalion headquarters in Banjul, and Sina reports.
This is not just about providing meals. It's about restoring dignity, fostering unity, and igniting hope in the hearts of those who need it most. This transformative mission to uplift underprivileged families through the Food Basket Initiative by the First Lady is a lifeline for hundreds of families who struggle daily to put food on the table. Musa Cisse, Vice Chair of the Board of Directors of the FAP Foundation, praised the First Lady for her remarkable generosity and unwavering commitment to uplifting underprivileged families. Mr. Cisse highlighted the First Lady's impactful support as a beacon of hope for those in need, transforming lives and inspiring others to follow her example. Lamin Chor, Country Director of the Muslim World League, expressed his appreciation for being part of the third edition of the initiative. He emphasized that the initiative aims to eradicate poverty in the Gambia while promoting good health and well-being. Alaji Sose, a beneficiary, offered heartfelt prayers for the continuation of the initiative, hoping it will reach and uplift even more people in need.
ñoo taxaw bés bi bem ex fi mu bëgg nii yàlla yokkaleen doole yokkaleen wér yokkaleen kàttan te boole xol yi.
I also prayed for the good health and well-being of all donors. Reflecting on the challenges facing the world today, I commend the initiative's significance in providing relief during these difficult times.
Alassana Kamara, also a beneficiary, acknowledged that such initiatives help solve hardship and prayed for the success of the initiative. Betty Sen, CEO of the FAP Foundation, says the Food Basket Initiative is a testament to their dedication to ensuring that no family goes hungry and everyone has access to basic necessities.
This is not just an act of giving. It is a reaffirmation that no one should be left behind and everyone deserves a chance to thrive. In addition to this initiative, we are also proud of the strides made in the healthcare through the establishment of Al Salam Clinic in partnership with the Muslim World League.
Fatoumata Babaro, the First Lady of the Gambia, highlights her foundation's future plans for the underprivileged and people living with disability.
I have partners that are willing to support the initiatives that we give to them. We know it is very hard all over the world right now, and especially people living with disability and people that are vulnerable. If you need to support them in any way, is to give them a handout. But to me, I prefer if we can train them how to fish than giving them fish all the time. We will look into this, and I will try and discuss with the partners, like the ones that are from the street begging for alms. We'll see what we can do for them.
In a world where struggles often overshadow joy, moments like this remind us of the power of kindness and unity. For QTV News, I am Julden Jai.
Laudable initiative there, and we join the beneficiaries in prayers. Senior GRA officials have urged staff to always maintain the highest ethical standard in the discharge of their duties. They were speaking on Thursday at the 7th edition of the authority's annual HR Department Orientation and Review. More in this report by Ansumana Isonyasi.
The 7th edition of this annual convergence of key staff across all departments, spearheaded by the Human Resource and Administration Department, comes as the authority wraps up its activities for the year under review. It presents an opportunity for stock-taking of their achievements and challenges and the state of implementation and progress of ongoing projects, particularly the digitalization and other reform programs. Addressing participants at the event, Commissioner General Yankuba Dabo highlights the crucial role staff in their respective departments play in fulfilling the authority's mandate. And while he stresses the need for strict adherence to highest ethical standards, he says the authority's leadership follows with keen interest and appreciates the contribution of other departments, many of whom are mostly given little or no recognition, as it is often mistakenly believed that the GRA comprises only the Customs and Excise Department.
When GRA was established, from that time to now, you have seen the revolution that happened as far as the tax administration is concerned. So for somebody to call GRA Customs, that is a laughing stock. GRA is more than customs. GRA is more than income tax. GRA is an institution composition of 8 departments, and each of these departments are headed and managed by professional staffs.
Speaking earlier, Deputy Commissioner General Esa Jallo and Ernest Mendy, Director of Human Resource and Administration, stressed the significance of the event and urged representatives of the various departments to take the assessment seriously, as their reviews will add value to the GRA's 2025-2030 Strategic Development Plan currently being developed.
HR stands out in a very unique way because you manage our most vital resources. That is starting from our human resources. Because at the end of the day, we can plan, we can do everything, but if the personnel are not fit for purpose, if the personnel are not organized in a manner that they can contribute towards the mandate of the authority, there is no doubt whatever we do in the other departments is going to fail.
I want to welcome all of you for coming. This is stock taking. I'm sure there is a lot to discuss. So let's take this opportunity to look at what has transpired, what we are planning for next year, so that it will help us to better in terms of our implementation next year.
Previously known as Customs and Excise Department and the Central Revenue Department or Income Tax Department, the GRA has since its merger in 2004 undergone considerable transformation, which ushered in the creation of several departments, including departments of domestic taxes, finance and accounting, legal and board services, and technical services, amongst others. Participants at this annual orientation and review are expected to assess the authority's 2024 performance, identify challenges, and share recommendations for the successful implementation of ongoing and future reform programs. Ansmane Sonyasi for QTV News.
The Information Commission of the Gambia held a press conference on Thursday to update the public about their operations and recent developments, amongst which are having an office and that they are having or they have started receiving access to information requests, amongst other matters. More in this report by Momodu Gajaga, which is narrated by Momodu Moj.
The Information Commission, which has oversight function to implement the ATI law, convened this briefing to talk about their recent developments as a body. The Commission was established under the Access to Information Act 2021, a legislative milestone aimed at safeguarding citizens' right to access public information. This is seen as a critical step forward in encouraging good governance and cultivating a culture of transparency throughout the country. Nyana McDowell-Gay is the chairperson of the Commission.
Since the swearing in of commissioners, an office had been acquired for the Commission by the Government of the Gambia, that is where you are today. The Western Africa Regional Digital Integration Program, called WADIP, through the Ministry of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, provided furniture, fittings, and equipment for the Commission. We still need more, but it's a good start. The Commission also has been holding consultations with various agencies for collaboration and partnership in the implementation of the ATI law. We also had the opportunity to celebrate the International Day for Universal Access to Information with the support of the Gambian National Commission for UNESCO, NATCOM. Following that, the Commission conducted a week-long study tour in Ghana in November this year.
Amongst other things, Chairperson McDowell-Gay says the Gambia Press Union prepared a document called the National Roadmap on the implementation of the ATI law. She said this document and a similar one by the Minister of Information are both crucial to implementing ATI laws.
We're drawing out a plan for sensitization, and you would be very active in that process to sensitize, because once we have the national roadmap for the implementation of the Act, then we need to popularize, we need to sensitize, we need to educate, we need to work with the media, and from Banjul to Koina, to let people know about access to information and how to access information and what tools are available for that process. So once the Commission has some of its structures in place, you shall be kept abreast of developments through press conferences, press releases, and other media engagements. We're also fully aware that for a successful implementation of the ATI law, there must be coordinated efforts among civil society organizations, public officials, public institutions, journalists, academia, and other citizens. The Commission, therefore, stands ready to work with all actors.
At the conclusion of the briefing, it is clear that the Commission will soon start receiving and responding to ATI requests. For QTV News, I'm Mahmoud Moj.
We'll now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have some more local news stories. Do stay tuned.
fii mooy fan fii mooy Inessa di place bi nga xam ne moom la ñëpp taam place bii bépp xeetu ataaya bu baax rek bu dugg see ci dëkk bi xamal li fii rek la am bara wërga bii neex na lool saf na ba pare tamit nag am gu bu neex boo ko naanee rek da ngay kontaan ci saas añ ba suur ba gëreesal li nga lekk jëndal bara ataaya bii ndax moom la ñëpp taam gis nga sama client bii ataaya bu neex bu ne moom laa koy njëkk a jox ndax moom kat ataaya bu neex rek lay wër bara wërga bii mooy wërga bi gën te moo gën a saf kon nag ràññee leen ko bu baax kon daw leen gaaw ca Banjul foofu ca Inessa di place bi nga xam ni foofu rek nga ko mën a amee wholesale wala retail mu ngi foofu ci boori court house bi foofu ca Banjul wala nga daw ci bépp marché bépp supermarket bépp boutique fépp foo dugg rek di nga mën a am baara warga bii nga xam ne moom la ñëpp di wër tey baara warga moo dàq ci warga yi man maa ngi ci moom ndax su ma maree ataaya moom rek lay naan.
The Gambia Maritime Administration, GMA, was established in 2006 as the Government Maritime Regulatory Agency. In this role, GMA monitors, coordinates and regulates all maritime activities within the Gambia jurisdiction, primarily focusing on coastal, port and flag state duties relating to maritime safety and security, protection of marine environment and pollution prevention. Protection of the marine environment and pollution is cardinal to the blue economic governance and ensuring sustainability of the oceans. Promotion of the Gambia's blue economy is one of the important pillars of GMA's strategic objectives, through which it seeks to protect the ocean and other water bodies while ensuring their sustainable use and exploitation. GMA prides itself on adopting best practices in the implementation of its program and policies, and seeks to approach issues relating to the governance of the blue economy in a similar manner. Thus, GMA is inviting you to its Blue Economy Awareness Workshop, the very first and one of its kind to create the necessary level of awareness and to appreciate the opportunities the blue economy can offer to the Gambia.
This is the Gambia Maritime Administration, GMA. We are what we do. Do not be left out. Be part of this very important capacity building event. It is geared towards establishing a formidable stakeholder platform that will harness and promote our blue economy for the socio-economic development of our people. And we are together in this. And together we are strong. Be there with us at Baobab Hotel from 16th to 20th December. Thank you.
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. On Thursday, the National Human Rights Commission launched a two-day training for the Gambia Police Force on the Prevention and Prohibition of Torture Act passed in 2023 to popularize the act and enhance the capacity of police officers to practice and uphold its guiding principles. Mamna Buka was at the opening ceremony, and this is her report.
The Prevention and Prohibition of Torture Act 2023 was passed to protect people from torture and other cruel, inhumane or degrading treatment. Citing the atrocities exposed during the TRRC, the law aims to prevent and eradicate all forms of torture, ensure accountability for those responsible, restore the rule of law, and keep democracy alive. This training aims to popularize the act and to build and enhance the capacity of police officers responsible for enforcing the law and ensure the law is correctly upheld. Emmanuel Daniel Juve is the chairperson of the NHRC.
As law enforcement officers, as I said, you are the first point of contact for individuals within the criminal justice system. And this places a significant responsibility on your shoulders to uphold human rights and ensure protection of individuals in your custody. So by participating in this training, you are taking an essential step towards meeting these obligations. So the sessions that we plan, you will gain practical insights into one, the provisions of the Act, what it says, what it means, the principle and guidelines of the Istanbul Protocol, which standardizes the investigation and documentation of torture, and also the Mendes principles, which provide effective ways to conduct interviews without resorting or coercing or abusing.
The Gambia also signed the UN Convention Against Torture in October 1985 and ratified it in September 2018, signifying the country's dedication to protecting human rights. During the training sessions, participants will engage in discussions and practical exercises to foster a deeper understanding of the contents and implications of the Act and Convention. Experts in human rights law and policing will lead the sessions, providing insights into the legal framework surrounding the prevention of torture. Here is Mulai Koli, the Director of Monitoring and Coordination at the Office of National Security.
You are expected that if you leave this classroom, you should be able to at least be a champion of against torture and be able to be an ambassador of the National Human Rights Commission, so that if you go to your workplace, at your stations, at your posts, during your patrols in the beats, you can be able to be a guide for other colleagues who are not here.
The launch of this training program comes at a time when there is a growing demand for reforms in policing practices and a heightened awareness of human rights issues. This initiative will contribute to a cultural shift within law enforcement, promoting respect for human dignity and the rule of law. Usman Koli, the Chief Superintendent of the Gambia Police Force, calls for wider outreach.
The Torture Act might be a new instrument for the police. Notwithstanding, we want to depend on our prosecution and legal department to collaborate, in addition with the Human Rights and Professional Standard Unit, to actively collaborate with NHRC to see how best this training module could be extended by way of a rollout program to make sure that a wider range of our police officers are reached.
The NHRC remains committed to promoting human rights and ensuring that all individuals are treated with dignity and respect, reinforcing the message that torture has no place in a just society. Mam Nabuka, reporting for QTV News.
On Wednesday, the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Food Security, in collaboration with World Food Programme, held a validation workshop on devising a National Grain Reserve Project concept note. Key stakeholders gathered to review and refine strategies to enhance food security and sustainable agriculture practices in the Gambia. Ma'am Nabuka attended the opening ceremony and she now reports.
In the Gambia, 69% of the population lives below the poverty line, and 29% are food insecure. The agricultural production capacity of the country is at an all-time low, producing only 50% of its own food requirements, increasing the volatility and uncertainty of how fragile the food system is. This National Grain Reserve Project aims to prevent and alleviate these adverse effects and build a national and regional preparedness capacity to be able to handle emergency crises. Demba Sabali is the Minister of Agriculture, Livestock and Food Security.
The cost of the proposed project will be about $34.9 million, and the project will run for 4 years. Main objective is to contribute to improve food and nutrition security, support about 162,664 vulnerable households, and building resilience of the country to global shocks and crises by 2028.
The concept note outlines the framework for the establishment and management of the National Grain Reserve, detailing the types of grains to be stored, the infrastructure required, and the logistics of distribution. By creating a centralized reserve of essential grains, the government aims to stabilize food prices, support local farmers, and provide a safety net for vulnerable populations, as well as combat climate change. Here is Miranda Sende, the representative and country director of the World Food Programme, who has been a key partner in this project.
Our goal is to support the government of the Gambia in establishing and managing national and regional grain reserve structures. We will capitalize on our supply chain expertise to support local procurement and storage management across the country as required for the national grain reserves.
The National Grain Reserve is expected to serve as a model for other countries in the region, showcasing the benefits of proactive food management strategies to reduce dependency on food imports. Carl Frederick Paul, the UN Resident Coordinator, commends the initiative.
As the Resident Coordinator of the United Nations, and on behalf of the Secretary General, I would like to emphasize the critical contribution of grain reserve to achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, particularly the Sustainable Development Goal number 2, which is zero hunger. By improving resilience and social protection, we hence facilitate inclusive growth, social cohesion, social justice that together will pave the way for the overall sustainable development of the Gambia, but also of the region and of other countries.
As the ministry prepares to implement this concept, key stakeholders from various sectors are being invited to participate in discussions to refine the plan and ensure its success. The establishment of the National Grain Reserve is seen as a vital step towards achieving long-term food security and resilience for the nation. Mam Nabuka, reporting for QTV News.
The Ministry of Health and partners commemorated the World AIDS Day 2024 on Saturday at the Tanye Primary School grounds. The theme of the event, Take Rights Path, underscores the importance of human rights in ensuring everyone has access to healthcare and can manage their health. Juldan Jai reports.
The Gambia joins the rest of the world to commemorate World AIDS Day 2024. Like the rest of the world, the Gambia has also been battling HIV/AIDS, despite the numerous initiatives rolled out by the government. Here is Usman Bojang, the governor of the West Coast region.
I look forward to a more robust approach and will continue to engage the Secretariat through the Regional Director to reassess our approach for a better and stronger, and if possible, if I may be allowed to say here, even a more fearful ways to have a better understanding of the virus and eradicate the stigma around it.
The 2024 World AIDS Day campaign calls on global leaders and citizens to champion the right to health, address inequalities that hinder progress in ending AIDS, and prioritize and reach everyone who is living with, at risk for, or affected by HIV, amongst other initiatives. According to the World Health Organization, in 2023 alone, an estimated 39.9 million people were living with HIV globally, and approximately 630,000 people died from HIV-related causes that year. Alpha Khan, the director of the National AIDS Secretariat, says the progress made in HIV prevalence in the country remains relatively low at 1.9% and 1.3% according to the Demographic Health Survey 2013 and National Sentinel Studies 2023 respectively.
In the Gambia, only 15,890, which is 60%, know their HIV status. Of those who know their status, 10,313, that's 65%, are receiving treatment. And 61% of them, which is 6,581, of those who are on earth had suppressed viral load. That means 66,581 cannot transmit the virus. The country therefore needs to redouble our efforts in improving access to testing and treatment.
Ndela Faikuli, the Executive Director of Action Aid International, the Gambia, and Carl Frederick Poole, the UN Resident Coordinator, highlights some of the challenges impeding the successful eradication of HIV and reiterated the need for all stakeholders to double up their efforts in the fight against HIV and AIDS.
Our country is still overly reliant on external support. New infections and deaths are gradually reducing, but not as fast as we expect. And some communities, particularly key and vulnerable populations, are continuing to experience human rights abuses, stigma and discrimination, and rising HIV incidences.
In 2022, 62% of adults living with HIV in the Gambia were women. Among adolescents and young adults, that is between 15 and 24 years, female accounted for 75% of the new infection last year.
Dr. Mamadou Tinyasi is the Gambia's Director of Health Services.
We especially celebrate the strides in increasing access to treatment, including the marked progress due to the introduction of new medicine the adoption of new technology, and combating stigma.
The event also saw the launch of the We Equal campaign by the First Lady of the Gambia, Fatoumata Babaro.
We Are Equal is more than just a campaign. It is a call to action for every individual, community, institution to work together towards a society where equality is not just a dream but a reality.
Free consultation and HIV testing were conducted for interested participants who also received gifts for participating in the activity. For QTV News, I am Julden Yai.
On Friday, members of the Global Wall March for Peace and Nonviolence movement submitted a petition to the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC of the Gambia, marking a significant milestone in the ongoing advocacy for global peace, justice and nonviolence. Yafatu Gay tells us more.
This petition, a core part of the Third World March for Peace and Nonviolence movement's campaign, aims to raise awareness about the importance of promoting peace, human rights, and nonviolent approaches to resolving conflicts worldwide. The delegates of the Third World March for Peace and Nonviolence, who have traveled from various corners of the globe, arrived in the Gambia to join their local counterparts in the calling for a peaceful and just world. Emmanuel Daniel Juve, chairperson of the National Human Rights Commission, commends the efforts of the organization in their fight against human rights violations globally.
This is a very noble initiative that you're doing. It gives courage that there are people who really believe in the ideals of nonviolence, in the ideals of peace. If you look around the world, really, the drivers of conflict, what are the drivers of conflict? In other words, what are the causes of conflict? Why do people go to war? And you will find out there are many reasons, but people are fighting for what? Equality. People are fighting against discrimination. People are fighting against bigotry. It's very important that if we talk about nonviolence, we have to look at the crux of the matter.
Marco Engleses, a member of the Third World March for Peace and Nonviolence, highlighted the movement's aims and objectives.
The aim is to make awareness about that it's urgent that we work for peace and nonviolence, because we think, and I believe that everyone can see it, we have a lot of conflicts. We have 56 conflicts in the world, not just Ukraine or Palestine, which are the most common wars at the moment, but there are many. There is violence is increasing, starting from the families, going to the relation between families, up to national, international, which becomes war.
Clarice Ferry, a volunteer of the Third World March for Peace and Nonviolence, says the fight against human rights violation is needed, as there are a lot of human rights violations happening around the world.
This talking about violence is really important today, but not only to the children, so not only in the schools or university, but I think that it is needed to do something more also to talk with women and men, because sometimes it happens that people do violence and they are not aware of doing violence, not only to other people but also to ourselves.
Other speakers emphasized the need to advocate for and protect the rights and well-being of everyone, regardless of their gender or race. The Third World March for Peace and Nonviolence is a movement that began in 2009 and is dedicated to spreading awareness about the urgency of global peace and the need for nonviolent conflict resolutions. The petition presented to the NHRC calls for an increased efforts towards peace building, nonviolent solutions to conflict, and stronger protections for human rights across the world. The event presents a powerful symbol of international solidarity, with participants united in their call for a peaceful, just, and sustainable future. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafatu Gay.
Action Aid International de Gambia hosted a day-long event focused on findings of a study on women's leadership in climate change strategies. Momadou Gajaga attended the forum, and his report is narrated by Ansumana Esonyase.
The study conducted in Yamina East, West, Dankungu districts all of which are in the Central River region and Opanyome district in the North Bank region, highlighted the women's vital role in driving inclusive and effective climate change mitigation and adaptation efforts. Ami Job, HR and Admin Director at Action Aid International The Gambia, gave details of the event.
On the vital contribution of women in driving climate resilience in the Gambia, particularly in regions most vulnerable to climate impacts, such as the Central River region and the North Bank region. The findings of our recent study emphasizes that women are not just participants in climate initiatives, but leaders and change makers, from spearheading community-driven efforts like tree planting and organic fertilizer production.
With climate change being a critical human challenge affecting people across the world, women are key stakeholders. The study looked at the crucial roles women can play in climate adaptation and mitigation strategies, considering the gender disparities. Dr. Demba Balde, a specialist consultant and senior lecturer at the Gambia College, worked on this study and gave some of the findings.
We also realize in the communities they are finding a lot of barriers related to resources. They do not have the resources. They also do not have the technical know-how. A lot of them, even though they are doing a lot of adaptation to climate change, they do not even know that they are doing adaptation to climate change. They just knew that we are doing this because they are impacted a lot as a result of climate change extreme events. But now that impact they are facing, they are adapting. But they didn't know that, in fact, the impact they are facing is as a result of climate change.
The event brought together important stakeholders such as civil society organizations, development partners, young people, women and community leaders to discuss the study's findings and stimulate collaboration on gender-responsive climate measures. By incorporating gender analysis into climate plans, the organization hopes to address imbalances, break down obstacles and create chances for inclusive and successful climate solutions. Answane Sonyase for KTV News.
Before we end, here's a recap of the headlines. Today, the 12th of December, the Ministry of Health, through its expanded program on immunization, started the second round of the nationwide polio vaccination campaign. The Fatoumata Barbaro Foundation, in collaboration with Muslim World League, today gifted 100 underprivileged families with foodstuff and cash through her food basket initiative. At the 7th edition of the authority's annual HR Department Orientation and Review, senior GRA officials have urged staff to always maintain the highest ethical standard in the discharge of their duties. The Information Commission of the Gambia held a press conference on Thursday to update the public about their operations and recent developments. That's all for now in this news bulletin. Join us again at 10 p.m. for another news bulletin. And a reminder that BBC's Focus on Africa will be at 9 p.m. tonight.